is up? Truth and Transparency. We are going to take a look at the 1 hour balcony video from the Idaho4 case. Here it is. We're going to use Gray Hughes's version, as he said that he went ahead and enhanced some of the audio. I want to use this, and then I'm actually going to use one that has not been enhanced. And we're going to focus in at 4:13 a.m. once we get there. Again, welcome, Truth and Transparency. 3:30, 1 hour plays all the way through. All right, so this is the first loop. For the Elantra. Right there, you can see right there in the back. Right there in the back, the launcher's around. Over here to the left, you could see right underneath the U and the N. There you go. There's the lights flashing on the house to come down and around. I hear voices here or something. I mean, it's not dead quiet. Okay, and there they go. Okay, right there. There's people that are up at 3 dead directly in front of us. The door opens right in front of us. Right there, door opens. Somebody comes out. You can see they're saying that that's the Elantra in the back. And it's like, where'd that person just go? She's still walking down that way. Is she running? That house that's directly that we're looking at, that's what they call the Shark Tank house. See how you can't hear anything? See how there's nothing? Okay. So I want to go back and listen to right here at 3:30. Right here. Here's the car coming at 3:30. Right there. Okay, right here. Okay. There's people you can hear voices. Okay. And this would be during the time frame of the Elantra that they're saying is the Elantra and it's back there for the first time. You can hear it's not like quiet how it was just a couple of seconds before this. You can say all day that you think that that's the same car, but anybody would know that you're speculating. You cannot tell what kind of car that is. Okay, there goes the girl. Okay, so I have a question for everybody. If that is in fact Brian Kober, why wouldn't he park the car and why wouldn't he have gone in right then? Right? Why wouldn't he have gone in right then? What was his reasoning for not going in? And people can say, oh, there was lights on. Well, that's what we could say before what we know now, which all of those lights were on. The back lights were on. There's lights in the kitchen that were on underneath the, right above the stove. So um, there is no more. The lights were still on, and he waited for the lights to go off. Okay. Um, so we can just get that out of like even like being able to speak that because it wasn't like the lights were off at 4. Okay. Um, so you're able to, if you're going to be unbiased and just be able to speak the facts, now that we have certain material, we're able to say that that's not the case. Okay. That was a narrative, but it's not able to be said that that's fact. In fact, it's able to be said that that's not fact. So it is 3:34. If you listen to the interviews of people, they said that they were up, they were in this area, they were up until like 3:34, 4:30. They were interviewed. People are still moving around in that the shark house right in front of us. You could see the movement. All of those lights are on. Now remember, somebody is claiming that the Linda Lane footage needed to be rebooted. and it happens every time between 3:30 and 4:05, I call bullshit. But for whatever reason, that Linda Lane camera footage is not available from 3:30 to 4:05. There's no way that a reboot would take that long. And why would you reboot during the middle of the night when you could reboot during the middle of the day and set up that reboot if you truly want to do that? And why would you not reboot all of your cameras? Why would you just be rebooting one? I call absolute bullshit. I hear voices. I hear that. Okay, here's a car coming at 3:38 behind Amalenta. Okay, they're saying that that's the Elantra again. And you could see the lights in the back off the Shark Tank house. Now you're going to come over here and look over here to the left side of your screen where it's dark. There you go, right there. You could see the lights, the headlights illuminating on the house. It goes across like it's doing its turnaround again, so it's not parking back there. And again, is leaving. There it goes. And now somebody explain to me now why, if that's Brian Kohler, why he would not have stopped and parked and gone in then. Okay, now I also want you to start thinking about this. They knew on November 14th, 15th, whenever they started talking about, okay, Jack Showalter, hoodie guy, they go over and they're spraying luminol. Then they're getting a search warrant to get into his apartment, all these things, right? They knew that when they got that search warrant on 11/23, and they were still interviewing him and he was still a main suspect, well into the beginning of December, they knew that he did not own a light colored Elantra or anything that would be light colored. Okay. Elantra. He had a BMW 3 Series. So my point is that you have all of this material so early on, and by November 19th, you're supplying videos to the FBI, and then more videos, and then on November 21st, more videos, and then on November 23rd, more videos, okay? How does Jack Showalter remain a suspect if he does not own that type of vehicle? Right? And there has to be a reason. But what Hitler wants to tell everybody is that you're not going to be able to be a third party culprit in this case if you don't have a white Honda Elantra, because that's what the killer drove. That's absurd. And my argument would be, wait a second. They knew about this car, they knew about this make, and they knew that Jack Showalter did not own that car, like a car like that. Is it because they thought that this could have potentially been somebody, Jack Showalter, with somebody else? That this car was a getaway car? That this was what? But the argument fails. The argument fails for me in that you are looking at Jack Showalter, and he is 100%. You can read these documents. That's who they are zeroed in on. Him and the other kid from the night at the corner club that got kicked out. You can tell it in Showalter's second interview. You could tell it when they're talking about the bag and bringing the drinks and, oh, you didn't tell us that you went and did this. Okay. So Jack Showalter, but he didn't own that type of car. So why wouldn't the cops be saying, well, it can't be this guy? Or do they know what we know, which is this camera, the lighting of it makes stuff look different. Those are orange pumpkins. If you look at the screen, those are not orange. Okay. So do they know what we know and saying, well, just forget about the color right now? Is it consistent with the make and model? Hear that voice? Again, I want us thinking as if you were a detective on this case and you're even considering Jack Showalter, right? Hoodie guy, right? How does he stay in the mix once you have this? And if you're truly saying that, that's why I think Ann Taylor was arguing to say that you knew that that wasn't suspect vehicle one, because you're pegging suspect vehicle one on someone else and they don't have a white Honda Elantra. Okay. Who hung out with Jack Showalter that drove a similar vehicle like that? Exactly, Gia. Can't have it both ways. Now, according to the state and what they wanted, what their theory was and how they were going to go about this, is they were going to say that everybody was asleep in that house by 2:30, 3 o'clock. Okay, they were in their rooms at least by 2. Remember, everybody's home by 2, in their rooms by 4, type of thing. But then that was going to have to be condensed into getting, because Ann Taylor, the way that she was saying, none of that's true. And there's evidence to show that. But the most important evidence that you have is Dylan literally saying in her first interview that we all just saw, when she's talking to Mitch, and she says, Kaylee and Murphy were in the living room. You know, the whole dancing, that didn't happen up top. That was in the living room. Also, Kaylee, it's like Kaylee's about to go to bed. So then, like, okay, it's, you know, getting to be almost 4, like it's time to go to bed. So I went ahead and I'm going to go to bed. And that's what she says. I was trying to go to sleep. And she knew that Murphy and Kaylee go upstairs, and then they immediately come running downstairs. And Dylan is of the opinion that the person that did this was upstairs already. And if they're out there in the main living room, how did this person come through the main living room or come through the back slider door or come through the kitchen? Like they would have run into them. And so in her brain, she's like, this person couldn't have. We were right there. Okay. But you would need to narrow her down when she's talking to you about that, and be specific with it. But what she says to that gentleman on the 13th outside that house is not how they reported it at all. And I feel bad for Dylan for that. Next point. Dylan nor Bethany had any idea that a DoorDash was ordered that night. Let me explain to you really quick. In college, it's like an unwritten rule, okay? If you're going to order food, you always ask, hey, I'm going to get such and such from this place. Does anybody want anything? Okay. And back in the day, it used to be like Chinese places, pizza places. Okay. Well, now with the crazy app stuff, DoorDash, all these things, you would just be able to send somebody money. Like, here, I'll Cash App you. Here, I'll Venmo you. Okay. Yeah. Because you don't want to pay. Why would I want to get, if I want food and we all agree here, yeah, let's get food from this place, we're only going to pay for one delivery order. Okay. It's actually really expensive when you use those places, what they want to charge you in the prices to deliver. But it's convenient as hell, right? Those girls, Bethany nor Dylan, they never once told the police at any point in time on the 13th or any time after. And the cops also kept it from Dylan and Bethany because they never asked them about it. They did not know that DoorDash was ever ordered. In fact, they don't even know Bethany and Dylan, mainly Dylan, speaking of, neither one of them talk about how they saw Xana or Ethan come home that night. And so if Dylan is up all the way until almost 4 o'clock, right? She saves a contact in her phone at 3:51, right? If she's all the way up at this time, there's no mention of, yep, I saw them come home, nothing. That means by the lack of saying that, that's significant. Also, she has no idea that a DoorDash was ordered. And I'm telling you, if Xana or Ethan were home when they actually ordered that, you're telling your mates that, man. Trust me, it's like an unwritten thing. Okay? Period. You're not sneaking around and, I'm going to get DoorDash and not let anybody know about it. Like, that's just wild. Anyways, Dylan and Bethany, they don't even say, the person that could have been at the door banging and knocking could have been the DoorDash person, letting us know that the food was there. They don't have a clue. Okay? They don't talk about them at all. And the reason that Dylan doesn't think that it's Xana, if you think about it, is because she doesn't even think that Xana's home. That's why Kaylee's coming running down, right? She has no even to think that Xana's home. But that even could be Xana, right? Because you should ask her, well, you never even mentioned that. You didn't know they got a DoorDash? You didn't know that? They weren't home? You didn't hear? Like, why isn't anybody asking them, when did Xana and Ethan come home? Even Dylan is saying how, and even Bethany is saying how, Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club. Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club. But where is Ethan and Xana? And there's going to be only two answers for why they have no idea about a DoorDash. Option number one is that Ethan and Xana, they were not home when they made that order. And they ordered it from being at a different place, okay? But they were sending it to the house. So therefore, I'm not communicating. I'm not around you to say, hey, do you want something? That's option one. That they did this and ordered it somewhere else, and then we're like, going to be walking home. Option two, ready? Option two is that Bethany nor Dylan were home. To know that Ethan and Xana were ordering DoorDash. To know that Xana was up on TikTok walking around waiting for her DoorDash. Those are the only two logical scenarios. They ordered it when they weren't there. Or option two is that Dylan and Bethany were not there, or and we can't say that they weren't up because Dylan already, we heard her talk to Mitch, and she's saying that how it was when Kaylee got Murphy and went to bed, and then she's like, I was then trying to go to sleep. She didn't say I was woken up in the middle of the night out of the blue. I was trying to go to sleep, and then all of a sudden, boom. That's what it was. That's how she tells Mitch, which is night and day. She wasn't woken up out of the blue. They were all headed to bed. And as she was trying to go to sleep, boom. Kaylee comes immediately running back down, saying that there's somebody here. Okay. 3:45. There's going to be a vehicle coming in. And you guys saw where it came from. It was back on Walenta. You see how fast that vehicle was going? It's pretty fast. That's Molly. Okay. Molly stops, and then she's pulling up. Now there's a car that went back there on Walenta. You hear that? You hear those voices? Do you hear all of that talking? Do you guys hear all of that talking? It does not matter what they are saying. There are people talking. There are people talking. Okay? So this is not Molly, okay, being lost and not talking to anybody and walking around, okay, or not getting out of her car and just staring. Doesn't matter what you think that it is not silence. And it is 3:47. Now, what are the odds that at the same time that Molly pulls up, okay, you guys were listening for 5 minutes before that, right? No voices, nothing, right? What are the odds that when Molly pulls up, right after she pulls up and the lights kind of go away, what are the odds that then all of a sudden we hear all these voices? Okay, what are the odds to say that that has nothing to do with Molly in this vehicle, right? And that it would actually have something to do with, oh, wow, what a coincidence that when that happened, people from the Whites got out of their apartment, came on over, and just started, like, because they're going to come over to the house or whatever. What are the odds? To me, it's not a coincidence. To me, that vehicle 100% is engaging in some type of conversation. Now, remember what Molly says as well is that she sees somebody in a tan vehicle, sedan, right? Supposedly, the way that it's written out, I hope to God now you guys see that we need to actually hear Molly's interview because you cannot take anything that anybody's writing out. I told you guys how that works. It's very, very, it's no. Mm-mm. You see the car in the back there at Lorenzo. Right there. I think that's a dog barking. Right there. Okay, it's 3:51. This would be a time. This would be right around the time that Dylan is taking her phone and storing a contact. Okay, so at 3:51, she's storing a contact in her phone. Okay, watch up here in the left corner. See that car that just sped away in the back? Now here's Molly. Look at this. Look at this timing. That car's speeding away. As Molly's walking down the middle of the street, literally walking just enough to be seen on the camera. With her light on, her phone, moving her phone around, having her light on her phone on. And Molly claims that she was lost. Now there's another car back there. There's another car heading south again. Remember when the FBI put out their report, it was like, how are two cars going south? And you're saying it's the same car, but we've never seen it come. Like how are you just labeling that that's the same car? If you have no idea if it's coming from Taylor and it's a totally different car, you have no idea. But yet this person has just spidey senses to like know that. And now a car speeds away at 3:53 in 14 seconds, right? And the cops say, "Hey, that's not nothing. This has to be a. I mean, how do you know that this isn't the Elantra from one of the past times it went? Like that somebody else could have been pulling out to go, and that actually wasn't the Elantra from like the first time it went back there at 3:30. How are you just labeling these cars? Look at, and there you go. There's a car coming back this way, coming back north. So how do we know that those two cars aren't actually communicating with each other? The one that just headed back north and the one that just kind of sped away at 3:53 and some change. How do we know that they're not communicating? We don't know anything. You wouldn't know anything. But what would actually connect a ton of dots would be the Linda Lane camera footage that's missing from 3:30 to 4:05. How could that possibly be the most important camera footage is possibly missing on the night of a like, I mean, this case happens during the time period. Who would ever know that? Who would ever know that Linda Lane camera footage, the one that points to Taylor, every day of the week resets and is unavailable from 3:30 to 4:05? That's some intel. You guys, we saw the pictures of the house and what it looks like. If you're walking if you're walking up and down like Molly just did, you see the house 1122 King. When she arrived, we hear all the noise. Somehow all these minutes will go by. And Molly doesn't click her delivered button until 3:59. And now that's saying that this time stamp here is actually accurate because it how is it authenticated? The cops had the back end of both this footage they had access to if they were like an owner and Linda Lane footage. They both Maury had access as if he was the owner of both of all three of these cameras, in which Linda Lane said they actually had four cameras. Okay, now we have a car coming in at 3:56 in 25 seconds, and you're either going to say to yourself that it came from Taylor coming from the opposite way, not Walenta, or it's actually a car that came from Walenta and it just pulled off the side of the road and waited to then say, okay, now I'm going to come back here. Or, like I said, if it's a car that came from Taylor, I mean, who knows what kind of car this is? And this is where Payne is alleging that this vehicle was Brian Culver's and it's the Elantra, and it actually pulls into the driveway behind Molly. But Molly just doesn't know it. What? You can see up there the little lights still on the house. And then over there to the left, you see the car making its loop. That's why I know that it doesn't stop. Payne would know that it didn't stop and pull into the driveway at all because over there to the left, you see it doing exactly what any car that's coming back around Queen does. The headlights shine right there onto that house, and as long as you're continuing to turn down, then that's why the lights go away. Okay, now do you remember what Eric Grower said? He said that when he dropped off the girls that there was only four cars there, not five. I wonder who he's talking about. There was five cars there. And he specifically says that he saw the slanted car, the Explorer. So that would mean that one of the cars that wouldn't be there would be either Xana's or Maddie's or the Range Rover. There's a car that's just going. You see how slow that car just went? Look in the back of Walenta here. That's supposedly the Elantra. That car has never gone that slow back there, right? Does anybody get the feeling that this person is waiting to like pick somebody up is that they keep looping and they're like, "What the heck? Like, what's going on? See how it's going so slow?" I remember Molly saying that she saw a guy looks nothing like Brian in the driver's seat of that car that she says that she saw, and it was like a tan sedan, okay? And the silver undercover hybrid, when it hits on those lights back there, it looks tan. Now, here's this car coming back. And right there, they're saying that that is Molly leaving. I can't make out that car, but whatever. What do you think the cops were thinking about when they were like, "Okay, hey, we think this is Jack Showalter." What when they're watching this video, what are they thinking about? Are they thinking about how which one's Jack Showalter's car? Wait, Jack Showalter lives at the Queen Road Apartments, though. Like, why would he be in a car? Well, because we sprayed around his apartment and there was no blood around his apartment. Okay, well, there's no blood prints leaving up out of the shoe prints leaving up out of the house. Yeah, that's why they had to find a way to get into his apartment. Right there, do you hear that? Hear that? What is that? What is that? 402 in 5 seconds, 478. It sounds like barking. It sounds like, what is it? Crying, barking, crying, barking. At the end of the day, it's somebody like grasping. It's like like it's like a hyperventilating type of thing, okay? At the end of the day, there's noise, okay? It doesn't matter what it is, there is noise right there at 402 in 30 seconds. Do you hear that? Do you hear all of this? What's going on? All of this. Now we have the car back there again. Going slow. Why was that just zoomed in like that? This is this is the original. Watch. The 1, 3, 4. Wow. How come they speed that up like that? Did you see that? How come that could speed up? Look at 404, 59. Look at that. What is wrong with this? How is this the original version? Did you guys just see that? This is why Ann Taylor said that this is ridiculous. I didn't do anything. This is the whole 1 hour straight through, okay? And they speed up the seconds here from, so you got 52, 53, watch this, watch 55, 56, right there, 59, look at boom. Why can't we see what car that is pulling in? Is it not look like a white Honda Elantra? You would never, this is inadmissible. This has been manipulated. This cannot be the original 1 hour timestamp. Do you understand that? Or Maury has a lot of explaining to do with what the fuck he did with this. Okay? If this is the original video, okay, this would never fly in court. And if any judge let this in, then they're just showing their ass. I have no idea whose car that is, and nobody could ever say whose car that is. But who the hell sped that up? Somebody had this and sped it up. It doesn't just do that on its own. Who did it? Mainstream media, why aren't you asking any motherfucking relevant questions? You don't do this. The person that had this video and who had access to it was the homeowners, and then the homeowners on the same day on 11/13 gave the password over to Detective Maury, who hid it until he realized that Schneider wrote it in a report, and he had to then, oh shit, I have to disclose that I did get this. Okay. He also had the back end access not to just this video, but to Linda Lane. And at no point does Detective Vargas say ever when she is watching any video, does she say that I was watching it and I'm missing video? She uses a copy and pasted email. And in this copy and pasted email, allegedly from Kane, who is friends with Coomer Scott Green, he gives away his password, everything, back end, here you go. Oh, and by the way, there's going to be missing video from this point to this point because there's an automatic reboot every day at this time. How was this not brought up for a suppression hearing, part of the suppression hearing? Did Ann Taylor never see this? I mean, anybody that's watching this can see that this is sped up. This has nothing to do. Brian Culber said that he killed 4 people. How does that have anything to do with an argument of saying, wow, this is manipulated? Holy shit, somebody manipulated this. I don't care if whoever would say that they're guilty. You're comparing oranges to apples. That's not my comparison. My comparison is just looking at this, the evidence, and any juror that was presented with this and shown that, anybody that has a half of a brain, maybe even like 1/10 of a brain, would say, oh God, wow, yeah. The video doesn't do that at any point, just right there. How did that happen? And then you're just going to have police officers get on the stand and say, that's how I got it. That's how I got it. Oh, is it? Oh, is it? Well, when you got the original SD card that you said that, oh, we just can't transport it to what, because you didn't realize that Schneider did all that stuff. And you're like, oh my God, we have to get rid of that because the stuff that I did now, I mean, that'll prove that I fucked with this shit. This is insane. All I know is if I saw this and I was a family member, this would have had to been manipulated so early on. Okay. So early on. And it's like, did they manipulate it because at first they were trying to get Jack Showalter? Things come to start to like bite you in the ass. Let me explain something here with this too. When this car comes down and does this 3-point turn, we have no idea. Why couldn't that have been Jack Showalter's car? Why couldn't that have just been anybody? Then it like backs up, does something because it was trying to get into that spot. Who's gonna do all of this and then run into a house and commit a murder? Now look off to the left. Remember how they said that the car came back around and parked in the back? It did not. See the car up there? See that? Nope. It made another loop. It can't be in the back. Look up to the top to the left. It's going to come, the lights are going to come all the way across like it's been doing. And that means it's going down it's not parking back there. Otherwise, the headlights would be up above where it's about to be. Did it go back far enough? Okay, here, so watch the car turn around. And then up in your left over here, you're going to see that the headlights shining on the house. It does the same exact thing that it always does if it's coming down around the turn. And you have to give Gray Hughes credit. He shows how the headlights would be if you were not right here, right there. See how it goes across again? Just as it's done every single time. That means that the car did not park in the back. Okay, it means it had to have continued. Okay, meaning coming down the side of the road next to the house. All right, and then guess what, guys? I'm going to show you what vehicle that is. You ready? Here you go. Thank God I needed pictures in order to show this. Okay. And we finally got them. So when I remove this and you pull up the photos from these puppies. Okay, perfect. When you pull up the photos from the 382 that we got, okay? Right there, there's your car, okay? It parked facing, it's right there, that's your white car. It got into that parking spot right there on the side of the house right here. That is your car that parked that night. It was facing this way and it pulls right in here, and that's the parking spot it takes, and it parks the opposite way. And I will fight anybody on that. Right there, that's the car that was trying to park and then parks. When it goes back up, Gray Hughes, because of what he was able to do to prove to me that that car did not have the headlights continuing in the back. And then I was like, okay, here we go. Right there. That's the vehicle. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for these pictures. That vehicle, that's where it parked that night. And the car that's speeding away, I believe that Ann Taylor was going to argue. Okay. What I believe Ann Taylor was going to argue, just like how she was saying it, you want us to believe that there's a door right there. Okay. And that these girls didn't run out of that house and leave. Jumped in a car. Those keys were accessible right there. Taking one of those vehicles. Regardless, right here's your car. There you go. And it's, you can go through these and you will see that car right there. And now it makes perfect sense as to why anybody would speed the fucking video up. I went through these pictures like right there. I mean, who would ever park their car like that? Who would ever park their car like that? Remember, they had to make a case. And this is how they would go about it. The narrative isn't the narrative. And I don't think it's because of anybody. Like if the right questions would have been asked, it doesn't matter if it looks like a van. We don't even know what that car is coming up the hill. Van, no van. It does not matter. It does not matter what car that is. Okay. When it's sped up like that, you can't even see what kind of car it is. Well, why not? In fact, they were determined to say this person was trying to park their vehicle to get home for the night. Okay. And when they didn't do a good job canvassing the neighborhood and asking people what they did and where they were and if they were driving their vehicle last night, they should have had everybody's car back here. Every single car that would have been back here. And have asked every single person. They couldn't be bothered with it. That video is 100% inadmissible in a courtroom, and anybody that would tell you otherwise is lying. Period. Much love. Much love. I cannot believe that the argument wouldn't have been that this video was sped up. Now, if you're sitting right here in a vehicle, you can't even see those top 3 windows. Okay. So when Payne's trying to get them to talk about, oh, the person that was awake, oh, it was you in the 3rd level. Again, look at this vantage point. I'm sorry. You can't see anything up there. Okay. And the 3rd one all the way to the left, that's the bathroom window. Okay. And when Molly's talking about someone kept ducking, no, Molly, you saw somebody in the left 2nd floor window and there was nobody ducking. They were walking down the stairs. They were peeking they were coming over that window right there. And then what's right next to it? The stairs to go down. Okay. And so nobody thinks that it's ironic that Dylan or Bethany are talking about a DoorDash and that it was how Payne made it seem like, oh, it could have been they were saying that someone was here because it was the DoorDash. That is unbelievable that you would ever say that when none of these girls even knew that a DoorDash was ordered and came to that house. The only thing that they knew is that Kaylee and Maddie went to the grub truck. As soon as Molly gets there, there's all this talking, all this commotion. And it sounds like someone's hyperventilating. Okay. And now listen to Dylan and Bethany in their interviews outside the house with the body cam on. That's what it sounds like. I would love to hear the audio from 12. Remember how Ann Taylor wanted it? She's like, I want it all the way till, noon, 1, 2, like what's going on here? Don't you want to hear how it would have sounded? See what kind of sounds it picks up? You would never do a comparison by just listening during that incident. You would listen to other times of the day when you know what's going on and what's occurring and hear how it sounds so that you can compare. I don't know why that wouldn't have been done. Just remember, Dylan or Bethany wrote their statements. The police did. If they would have asked, you cannot answer a question that is not asked of you. Okay? If someone says, well, why didn't you tell it to the police? It's just like, well, they didn't even ask me about that. I didn't even. So think about it. But remember what the police officer said to Bethany. Were you here when I pulled up? Because she wasn't. He knew that. He knew that he didn't see that girl. Bethany wasn't there. Go watch the body cam. Bethany is not there when he rolls up and all the people that are standing outside. Bethany's not there. Immediately when you would have known this is a homicide, which all of these guys did, okay? They should have loaded them up and taken them down. If you're not going to do that there, then, hey, separate them all and, hey, we need to start getting witness statements. All right, guys, we'll see you on the flip side. You guys all rock. You guys rock. Let me hit over here really quick. That's a new member. Eric became a new member. Witchy, Lana, why is it called Shark Tank House, please? That's just what they call it. I don't know. My show tomorrow night's going to be mind-blowing. My Sunday Night Live. It's at 9. Mikey, hi. Finally alive. 27 months. Moto, those curly fries looked so good. Yes. Oh, and talking about curly fries, yes. I liked all the comments. We got the tacos. So we saw the taco slides. So we got that. Lana, I love you, Lana. Don't tell my wife. Okay, I won't. Hobby Master, mwah. Love you back. Susan says, how about bringing Pavarotti into a chat? He shows flashlight signaling in this and another security cam. He also has these cars identified. Well, I think what's important. I've talked to Pav a lot. I think what's important is I don't know anything for sure, right? But what we can tell for sure is what's not there. Okay, so sometimes it's the process of elimination that's really really important. And what I was able to ascertain from the videos and the pictures is that what Dylan told the first responding officer was not reported correctly at all. And that Dylan was influenced. Okay. And then all of a sudden it became that Dylan and Bethany were just so out of their mind with alcohol. They didn't even mention alcohol. Okay. It was about being scared. That's what that was about. And you're scared because of what you've witnessed. You can't be scared of the unknown. Like I don't know. If I didn't know something was going on, I can't be scared of it. I can't come out of my room peeking out the door for what? I mean, there'd have to be a reason to be scared. Thank you, Gia. Heartbeat member for 3 months. What's up? They sped it up because it was the undercover cops who were there to help. No other reason to manipulate it. Yeah, you know me about that undercover car all day, every day, baby. All day, every day about that undercover copper. They're the ones lining reports too. Angel, boy, did I need to see this today. We love you so much, our dear. Oh, thank you. Words cannot always express how we feel within. You are a true angel among us and a warrior. Oh, thank you. Angel Heart, thank you so much. $50. Keep doing what you're doing, girl. I adore you and always will. That's very, very nice. Very kind words. I appreciate that. Thank you. Bluebird, panties. Mama Hen. Have a wonderful weekend. 11 months. Look out. You guys are awesome. Yeah. So this would be so inadmissible. And I just think that somebody needs to ask this question. So I guess I have no problem calling and asking and saying, hey, why is this 1 hour video not sped up ever until you get to this point? You know, can anybody answer that? How would that have happened? How was that not manipulated? How could you even manipulate it if you didn't? Like, how does that even? Can you tell me how one would even go about doing that? You know, so all right, guys. See you on the flip side. Rewind it, watch it again. Use the comment section of the video. Tell me what you think. But yeah, a lot. You can tell a lot from what's missing. And Bethany had a jersey on, a Tom Brady jersey on. Tom Brady played in the morning at 6:30 a.m. because he was playing off in Germany against Seattle Seahawks at 6:30 a.m. West Coast time. That's the time that they were on. Bethany had a jersey on. She did not sleep in that jersey. Come on, man. She was up like anybody else would have been if they're rooting on their favorite player, hanging out with the guys, hanging out with the girls, and who just wouldn't keep the party still going if they're going to play at 6:30 in the morning. You wouldn't go to sleep. You would just keep it on. And that bathroom on the first level looks like nothing of the bathrooms on the second and third level. Okay. The bathroom on the third level looks like everything was taken out of it. And then somebody placed a can in there. And then nobody took the piss or the shit stain out of the toilet on floor 2. And that's crazy to me. That was never sampled. That is how the Amanda Knox case. Why wouldn't you be taking someone's urine out of there What are you doing? How are you not taking that? Um, especially after the stories that you've heard, you would want that sample. Plus, maybe the killer made a horrible mistake and used the bathroom and thought that he flushed it and he didn't. But there's toilet paper in there. It looks like a girl went to the bathroom. I would love to know who went to the bathroom because that's right next to Xana's room. If nobody said that they were upstairs and went and did that, then when did somebody use the bathroom? Come on, man. All right, guys. Bye. Go crew.